not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready right now. You keep telling yourself you'll start when things are perfect, when the stars align, but guess what? That perfect moment, it's never coming. Life doesn't wait for you to catch up. It's moving forward, and you're either keeping pace or getting left behind. You're standing on the edge of a cliff, and the only thing holding you back is your fear. Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of pain. But let me ask you something, what's worse, the pain of trying and failing, or the pain of never trying at all? You've got one shot at this life, one, and every second you waste, every excuse you make, every time you hit snooze, that's another second gone. Gone forever. Stop making excuses. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. There are no perfect conditions. The clock is ticking and you're running out of time. If you keep waiting, you'll look back one day and wonder where it all went, why you didn't start sooner. You'll be filled with regret, and that's worse than any failure you could ever experience. Regret is a prison, and it's a prison built from inaction. You think you have time, don't you? You wake up every day and go through the motions, thinking you'll get to it tomorrow or the next day. You tell yourself, I'll start when I'm ready. I've got time. But here's the truth, you don't. Time is running out, and every second you waste is a second you'll never get back. Life doesn't stop for you. It's moving whether you're ready or not, and if you're not moving with it, you're falling behind. You keep thinking you've got time to fix your life, to chase your dreams, to turn things around, but the harsh reality is this life isn't giving you any breaks. The clock is ticking, and it's ticking faster than you think. You've already lost days, weeks, maybe years to procrastination, to fear, to excuses. And while you're sitting there thinking, I'll start next week, life is passing you by. Your potential is slipping away with every breath you take without action. Look around. Look at how quickly time moves. Look at the people you used to know, the opportunities you missed because you thought you had time. It doesn't slow down. It doesn't wait for you to feel ready. You've been lied to by your own mind, thinking you've got all the time in the world to become what you were meant to be. But the truth is, time is the one thing you don't have enough of. Every day you let go without pushing forward, you lose a piece of yourself. You lose a shot at greatness. And you know what? Time doesn't care about your excuses. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you're scared, if you don't feel like it today. It's moving forward relentlessly, and it's taking you with it whether you're ready or not. You can either move with it, or you can let it drag you along, stuck in the same place, wondering why nothing changes. Life doesn't wait for you to catch up. You have to force yourself to keep pace, to fight against a ticking clock that's counting down your days, your hours, your moments. It's now or never. Because once time is gone, it's gone forever. And no matter how much you want it back, no matter how much you regret wasting it, it's not coming back. Let's get one thing straight. Procrastination is nothing but a slow death for your potential. Every time you put something off, every time you tell yourself you'll do it later, you're not just delaying action, you're killing the very thing that could make you great. You're robbing yourself of the progress you could be making. And for what? Comfort? Laziness? Fear? Those are the chains holding you down, and you're letting them tighten every time you give yourself an excuse. You sit there telling yourself, I'll start tomorrow like tomorrow's guaranteed. But tomorrow isn't some magical land where everything gets easier. Tomorrow is just another chance for you to come up with the same old excuses. And while you're putting things off, someone else is out there grinding, getting better, getting stronger. Someone else is becoming the person you could have been while you're stuck where you are. Procrastination isn't just about being lazy. It's about choosing comfort over growth. It's about fearing the work, fearing the pain, and finding reasons to avoid it. But here's the truth. Every excuse you make, every day you put something off, you're falling further and further behind. Your goals aren't going to wait for you to feel like it. Life doesn't care about your reasons. Every time you procrastinate, you're making a decision to stay exactly where you are. And that's the real danger. Procrastination doesn't just keep you from doing the thing in front of you. It builds a habit. It becomes who you are. You become the person who always puts things off, who always finds a reason not to act. And over time, that becomes your identity. You're no longer someone who's capable of greatness. You're someone who makes excuses, who avoids discomfort, who lets fear dictate their life. You're letting yourself off the hook every single time. You're telling yourself, it's okay. I'll do it later, but guess what? Every time you say that, you're losing momentum. You're losing the drive, the fire, the hunger that could be pushing you forward. Procrastination takes that hunger and turns it into complacency. And before you know it, your goals are slipping away from you, one excuse at a time. Procrastination kills potential because it steals your time, your energy, and your focus. It's like a virus that infects everything you do. You don't just procrastinate on one thing, you start procrastinating on everything. And pretty soon, you're stuck in a cycle of waiting, delaying, and never getting anywhere. You think you're playing it safe, but really you're just digging yourself deeper into a hole you'll never climb out of. You have potential, everyone does. But potential doesn't mean a damn thing if you're not willing to act on it. Potential is worthless if all you do is talk about what you could be, what you should be, and never actually become it. Procrastination is the enemy of potential because it convinces you that you can afford to wait, that there will always be more time. But that's a lie. Every excuse you make, every minute you waste is setting you back. It's pushing you further from the person you're meant to be. You keep telling yourself you're waiting for the right time. That perfect moment when everything lines up, when you feel motivated, when life gets easier. Let me tell you something, there's no perfect moment. It doesn't exist. That's just another lie you've been feeding yourself to stay comfortable. You're sitting around waiting for conditions to be just right, thinking one day it'll all click, but that day is never coming. You know why? Because life doesn't care about your plans, your ideal conditions, or your schedule. The truth is, you're never going to feel fully ready. There will always be something, some excuse, some obstacle, some reason to wait a little longer. It could be bad weather, a long day at work, not feeling 100%. But guess what? Those reasons don't matter. They're not real barriers. They're just things your mind uses to keep you in the same spot. You're never going to wake up and have everything perfectly aligned. You've got to act in spite of it. I think about all the opportunities you've missed because you were waiting for things to feel right. How many days, weeks, months, or even years have you wasted telling yourself, I'll do it when I'm more prepared. I'll start when I've got more time. Let me tell you something, the world doesn't stop moving just because you're not ready. That perfect time you're hoping for, it's an illusion. And every minute you spend waiting for it is another minute slipping through your fingers. You see, the people who succeed, the people who push through and make things happen, they're not waiting for perfect moments. They create their own moments. They move when they're tired. They work when they're unmotivated. They don't wait for life to hand them the right circumstances because they know that day will never come. They understand that real progress comes from acting despite the chaos, despite the distractions, despite the discomfort. And that's where you've been failing. You're sitting on the sidelines waiting for the stars to align, waiting for some magical moment when everything falls into place. But that moment doesn't exist. The people who get ahead in life aren't the ones with perfect timing or ideal conditions. They're the ones who step into the storm, who act when everything is going wrong, who push themselves when every part of their body is telling them to stop. You want to know why you haven't made progress? It's because you're waiting for that perfect moment, and that's nothing but a trap. The longer you wait, the further behind you fall. Conditions will never be perfect. You will never feel 100% ready, but you have to move anyway. That's what separates the people who talk from the people who actually get things done. They stop waiting and start doing. Intentions don't mean a damn thing without action. You can sit there all day dreaming, planning, and talking about what you're going to do, but none of it matters unless you take action. It's easy to have good intentions. It's easy to say, I'm going to get in shape, I'm going to start that business, I'm going to change my life, but talk is cheap. What separates the people who succeed from the people who stay stuck is action. You think intentions alone are enough? They're not. Intentions don't get you results. They don't build discipline. They don't forge mental toughness. And they sure as hell don't change your life. Action does. Every single day, the choices you make, the work you put in, the steps you take, that's what defines who you are and where you're going. Not what you plan to do. Not what you hope to do, but what you actually do. Intentions are safe. They make you feel good because you think you're moving in the right direction just by having them. but they're empty without action. They're just words, just thoughts. And you know what? The world doesn't care about your intentions. Nobody's going to hand you a reward because you had good ideas or great plans. You only get what you're willing to work for, what you're willing to sweat for, what you're willing to suffer for. And that only comes from action. You can have all the best intentions in the world, but if you're not out there grinding, putting in the work, it's worthless. You think successful people got where they are because they had good intentions? No, they're where they are because they got up every day, whether they felt like it or not, and they took action. They didn't just think about it, they lived it. They bled for it, they made it happen. And that's the difference between where you are now and where you could be. Every day you sit around thinking, planning, and intending, you're missing the point. Action beats intention every time. You're defined by what you do in the hard moments, the moments when you don't feel like it, when everything in you is telling you to quit. That's when action matters the most. Intentions don't get you through the grind. They don't push you when things get tough. Only action does. You can have all the potential in the world, but without action, it's wasted. What you do right now, not what you intend to do later, will determine your future. Every minute you spend taking action is a minute you're building the person you're supposed to be. Let me tell you something, time doesn't stop. Every second that passes is one you'll never get back. And yet here you are, acting like you've got an endless supply of it. You think you can waste a day, put things off, and somehow make up for it later. But you can't. The clock is ticking, and it's moving faster than you realize. Every second you waste is a second gone forever, and you're not getting it back. You're not paying attention to how precious time is. You think you've got all the time in the world to reach your goals, to chase your dreams, to become the person you want to be. But that's a lie. Time is slipping away, and you're just sitting there watching it go by, telling yourself you'll start tomorrow. But what if tomorrow doesn't come? What if you wake up one day years down the line and realize you've run out of time? What then? You've already wasted too much of it. How many hours have you thrown away doing nothing, sitting on the couch, scrolling through your phone, making excuses? Every time you choose comfort over progress, every time you choose distraction over discipline, you're losing time. You're losing opportunities. And those moments are gone, dead and buried. You don't get to hit rewind. You act like time is something you can buy back, like there's always more of it waiting for you around the corner. But let me tell you something, there isn't. You're running out of time whether you realize it or not. And the truth is, most people don't realize it until it's too late. They look back at their lives and see all the wasted time, all the opportunities they missed, and by then it's too late. You can't get those seconds back. Look around. Time isn't slowing down for anyone. It's moving forward, and you're either moving with it or falling behind. The people who succeed, they don't waste time. They don't let a single second go by without pushing themselves, without making progress. They know the value of every moment, and they fight to make the most of it. Every second that ticks by is another second closer to your last. And you don't know when that last second will be. You're not guaranteed another day, another week, another year. So why are you acting like you have time to waste? You think you can afford to sit around waiting for motivation, waiting for the perfect moment? You can't. Time doesn't wait for you to get your act together. Life is not a video game. You can't hit the pause button and take a break whenever you want. The world keeps spinning, the clock keeps ticking, and every moment that passes is one you'll never get back. The urgency of life is real, and it's relentless. You're living in a reality where every second counts, yet too many of you are stuck in neutral, waiting for the right time to kick it into gear. But guess what? The right time is now. You think you can afford to wait? Think again. Life doesn't care about your plans, your schedules, or your excuses. It moves on with or without you. And if you're not ready to step up, you'll get left behind. Every day you sit there contemplating your next move. Every day you hesitate to act. You're losing ground. There are people out there hustling, pushing, and grinding while you're making excuses, and they're moving ahead, leaving you in the dust. You have this illusion that you can take your time, that there's always tomorrow to make things happen. But what if tomorrow never comes? What if you wake up one day and realize you've let life pass you by, waiting for conditions to be just right? It doesn't work that way. You don't get to decide when life is going to throw challenges your way, but you do get to decide how you respond to them. The urgency is in taking action, making choices, and seizing the day before it slips through your fingers. You can't afford to take a break when you're in the fight for your future. Every second you waste is a second you're giving away to someone else who's willing to put in the work. You want to be successful? You want to achieve greatness? Then you better realize that life is short and the window of opportunity doesn't stay open forever. You have to act with purpose, with urgency, because those moments are precious and fleeting. So why are you still hesitating? Why are you still waiting for the perfect moment? The urgency of life demands that you act now. You're not guaranteed tomorrow, and you sure as hell can't afford to waste today. Every day that passes is another day lost, another chance missed. You have to be ready to attack every moment, every opportunity, and make it count. This is your life we're talking about, and you don't get to hit pause. You don't get to wait for the perfect conditions. You have to create your own urgency, fuel your own fire, and take the damn leap. Listen up. Excuses are nothing but a crutch. They're the weak, pathetic whispers in your head that tell you it's okay to stay comfortable, to hold back, to sit on the sidelines instead of getting in the game. You've got to understand that excuses are weakness. They're the chains that bind you to mediocrity. Every time you give in to an excuse, you're allowing a part of you to die. You're choosing to stay small instead of stepping into your greatness. You say you don't have time? Everyone's busy. You're not special because you have a packed schedule. Every single person out there is fighting their own battles, yet they find a way to push through. You think your situation is unique? It's not. We all face challenges, and it's those who confront them head on that rise above. Excuses won't help you conquer obstacles. They'll only hold you back. I'm too tired. I'm not good enough. I'll do it later. These are all excuses. They're just your mind trying to protect you from discomfort, trying to keep you in your safe little bubble. But guess what? Growth doesn't happen in the bubble. It happens outside of it, where it's uncomfortable, where it hurts, where you have to dig deep and fight against the urge to quit. Every time you come up with a reason why you can't do something, you're giving yourself permission to fail. You're telling yourself it's okay to give up, to settle for less than you're capable of. It's time to take a hard look in the mirror and ask yourself why you keep making these excuses. Are they protecting you, or are they preventing you from becoming who you really want to be? Excuses are the easy way out. They're the voice that says you don't have to try today. Just relax. It'll be easier tomorrow. But let me tell you something, tomorrow doesn't exist. You're only guaranteed this moment, and if you waste it making excuses, you're squandering an opportunity to be better. You're throwing away a chance to prove to yourself that you can overcome anything. You need to get raw with yourself, cut the crap, and stop making excuses. Every time you give in to that voice that says you can't, you're weakening yourself. You're choosing the path of least resistance, and that path doesn't lead to greatness. It leads to regret, disappointment, and a life unfulfilled. You owe it to yourself to push through the excuses, to face the discomfort head on, and to fight for what you want. You have the power to change your life, but only if you stop letting excuses dictate your actions. Every time you think about backing down or giving in, remember that each excuse chips away at your strength. You want to be strong? Then stop rationalizing why you can't and start taking action. No matter how hard it feels, you're stronger than your excuses, and it's time to prove it. You think the world is holding you back? You think your circumstances are keeping you from achieving greatness? Let me set the record straight. You are your own limit. The only thing standing between you and your goals is you. It's not your job, your family, your friends, or even your past. It's you and the beliefs you hold about what you can or cannot do. It's time to face the truth. The barriers you face are largely self-imposed. You've built walls around yourself, thinking they're there to protect you, but they're really just traps. Every time you convince yourself that you can't do something, every time you let doubt creep in, you're reinforcing those walls. You're the architect of your own limitations. And guess what? Those limitations are all in your head. You've created a narrative that says, I'm not strong enough, I'm not smart enough, or I'll never make it. But who decided that? Who wrote those rules? You need to recognize that those thoughts are lies. They're poison. They're the voices of fear trying to keep you safe and small. But that safety is an illusion. The real danger lies in staying comfortable, in refusing to push yourself beyond what you think you can do. You have to challenge those beliefs, tear down those walls, and show yourself what you're truly capable of. Think about the times you've pushed through and done something you once thought was impossible. Remember that feeling of breaking through the limit you had set for yourself. That's what you're capable of every single day if you just stop holding yourself back. Every time you push against your perceived limits, you expand your capacity, you grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable. You discover that the barriers you thought were impenetrable are actually made of paper. You want to achieve something great? Then you need to embrace discomfort. You need to step into the unknown and face your fears head on. Every moment spent playing it safe is a moment wasted. You're not here to be comfortable. You're here to grow, to struggle, and to rise above. The only way to break through is to get uncomfortable, to push past the doubts, and to take that leap of faith into the arena of your potential. You have the power to redefine what's possible for you. You need to own that power and stop letting self-doubt dictate your actions. Every time you find yourself thinking, I can't flip that script, I can replace it with action. The more you challenge those limits, the more you'll discover your true potential. You are not the limitations you set for yourself. You are the strength that lies beyond them. It's time to break free and show the world what you can really do. Let me tell you something powerful. Pain is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. You want to grow, you want to push your limits, then you've got to embrace the struggle. You've got to lean into the pain and understand that it's a necessary part of the process. Every time you face hardship, every time you experience discomfort, you're given a choice. You can either run from it or use it to become stronger. People are so afraid of pain that they do everything they can to avoid it. They seek comfort, ease, and security, thinking that's where happiness lies. But let me break it down for you. True happiness, true growth lies on the other side of pain. Every time you push through a tough workout, every time you fight through the fatigue, you're building resilience. You're forging mental toughness. That struggle is what separates the weak from the strong. You need to flip your mindset. Instead of dreading the struggle, start welcoming it. Instead of running from discomfort, embrace it as an opportunity to grow. When you're out there pushing yourself and it hurts, when every fiber of your being wants to quit, that's when the magic happens. That's when you discover what you're made of. It's easy to be strong when everything's going your way, but true strength is revealed when you're pushed to your limits. Every successful person you admire has been through the fire. They faced obstacles that made them question their strength, but they didn't back down. They leaned into the struggle, knowing that each battle was an opportunity to emerge stronger, sharper, and more focused. You have to adopt that mentality if you want to achieve anything worthwhile. The world isn't going to hand you success on a silver platter. You have to go out there and fight for it. You have to embrace the sweat, the tears, the struggle. When you're grinding it out, when you're pushing through those tough moments, that's where the growth happens. That's where you become the person you were meant to be. Pain is a pathway to growth. Every ounce of discomfort is a lesson waiting to be learned. Don't shy away from it. Don't let it defeat you. Use it to fuel your fire, to sharpen your focus, and to propel yourself forward. When you start viewing pain as an ally instead of an enemy, you'll unlock a whole new level of potential within yourself. So get out there and embrace the struggle. Chase after it. Seek it out. Because when you do, you'll find that you're capable of so much more than you ever thought possible. Every painful moment is a stepping stone toward greatness. Don't fear it, embrace it, own it, and let it take you to places you never thought you could reach. You want to know the secret to success? It's not luck, it's not talent, and it's definitely not about having the right connections. It's about consistency. Every single day you need to show up, you need to put in the work, regardless of how you feel. Because success isn't just a one-time event, it's a habit. It's what you do day in and day out that builds the foundation for your future. Too many people want results without putting in the consistent effort. They want to wake up one day and find that they've achieved their dreams without realizing that those dreams are built on small, daily actions. You can't just show up when you feel like it or when it's convenient. You have to commit to the grind, to the daily discipline of putting in the work, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, and even when you don't want to. Every time you skip a workout, every time you choose comfort over discipline, you're chipping away at your progress. You're telling yourself that it's okay to take a break, to rest on your laurels, but let me tell you, those breaks add up. They pile on top of each other until you wake up one day and realize you've fallen behind. You need to create a routine that fuels your success. That means getting up early, setting clear goals, and holding yourself accountable. You've got to push through the days when motivation is low and remind yourself why you started in the first place. It's not about feeling inspired every single day. It's about being disciplined enough to take action even when you don't feel like it. The journey to greatness is a marathon, not a sprint. It's the consistent effort that compounds over time and leads to incredible results. Think of every small action you take as a brick in the wall of your success. You lay one brick down at a time, day by day, and before you know it, you've built something substantial. But if you skip days, if you start slacking, those bricks don't just stop piling up, they start to fall apart. You need to hold yourself to a higher standard. Consistency requires you to be honest with yourself about what you want and what you're willing to do to achieve it. There will be days when you want to quit, days when everything feels like an uphill battle, but those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that define you. Success doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by chance. It happens through relentless consistency and unwavering discipline. You have to put in the work, show up, and do it again and again. Make it a non-negotiable part of your life. When you commit to that level of consistency, you're not just chasing success, you're building it one day at a time. Listen closely, because this is crucial. Your past does not define who you are today. You have the power to shape your own narrative. Too many people get trapped in the cycle of their history, allowing their past mistakes, failures, and regrets to dictate their future. They walk around carrying this weight, using it as an excuse for why they can't achieve greatness. But let me tell you something, your past is just that, past. It's behind you, and it's time to move forward. Every single one of us has a story filled with ups and downs, triumphs and failures. But what matters is how you choose to write the next chapter. You can't let what happened yesterday control your actions today. You need to take ownership of your story, and that starts with taking responsibility for your life. Don't point fingers at your upbringing, your environment, or the cards you were dealt. Those are just parts of your story. They don't have to be the ending. You have the power to redefine your narrative. You've got to dig deep and confront the demons of your past. Face them head on, learn from them, and then use that knowledge as fuel to propel yourself forward. Instead of allowing your history to hold you back, turn it into a strength. Every setback, every mistake is an opportunity to grow and to evolve. You have to believe that change is possible. It doesn't matter where you come from or what you've been through. What matters is what you're willing to do right now. Every day is a new chance to rewrite your story. You want to be a champion? Then act like one. You want to achieve greatness? Then start living like you already have. When you own your story, you embrace your journey, the struggles and victories alike. You learn that it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Every setback is a setup for a comeback. It's about taking those experiences, owning them, and using them to fuel your determination to rise higher. Stop letting fear dictate your future. Stop hiding behind your past. Embrace who you are, flaws and all, and use that to drive you toward becoming the best version of yourself. The world doesn't owe you anything, and you don't need anyone's approval to live the life you want. It's time to take control and show everyone what you're capable of. Remember, your story is yours to tell, so tell it boldly. Write your narrative with purpose and passion. Turn your pain into power and let your journey inspire others. Own your story, take the reins, and create a future that reflects who you truly are and who you want to become. Don't let the past write your future. You have the pen in your hand. Now go out there and write the story of your life. You want to rise to the next level? You want to elevate your game? Then listen up. You need to surround yourself with greatness. The people you spend your time with have a direct impact on your mindset, your drive, and your overall success. If you're surrounded by people who are content with mediocrity, guess what? You're going to become just like them. You'll adopt their mindset, their habits, and their excuses. But if you want to be great, you have to seek out those who are already achieving it.